Teaching moment that I want to share. So God has shared a dream with me almost 2 years ago that was so vivid. You could not tell me that this dream was not accurate in the way that I perceived it. This dream was pertaining to me taking care of and raising a newborn baby. This was July 22nd, 2021. And the reason why I remember this date was because God told me to document it, and he also told me to reach out to the person who was also in the dream. At this time, the people that were in the dream were in the process of having a baby. It was a husband and wife that were pregnant, and they were in the process of having their fifth baby. However, in the dream, God had highlighted me taking care of this beautiful newborn chocolate baby. He said that it was number 4. I didn't know why number 4 was there. And so when I woke up from the dream, like I said, it was so vivid. I immediately texted the person at 6:03 a.m. and said, "Oh my God, I got to tell you this." And I shared the dream with them. I thought the dream was about them, and that was my perception of it. It wasn't until months later that I found out that the dream was actually about me. And I was being prepared to have another baby, which just so happened to be my 4th child, which, by the way, there's a 12-year gap between my youngest child and my youngest daughter currently now. Not only was it me in the dream who was having this baby, it was also one of the things that was also highlighted in the dream was that it was a girl, right? And there's a reason why I'm sharing some of these details with you, because it goes to a lesson that I want to teach. So I was convinced that this dream was about someone else. I was convinced that they were having a girl. They had been praying to have a girl. And when I had this dream, and because it was so vivid, I just knew. And because I also know that I listen and hear the voice of God, I was convinced, you could not tell me no different, that they were about to have a baby girl. Okay. I shared the dream with them. Months later, I realized it's about me because now I'm pregnant. November 14th, 15th is when I realized that I'm pregnant, and I am having my 4th child. Surprise, surprise, not planned whatsoever. Um, but because of that dream, I said, "Oh my God, I think I'm having another girl," because everything was looking like the dream. Convinced. About 5-month mark, you go in to check the sex of the baby. And the woman says, "Oh, it's a beautiful baby boy." And I was like, "No, it's not. No, it's not, because God told me that it was a girl." No, absolutely not. God told me it's a girl. And I refused to believe that it was a boy. I kept believing, when I come back, they're going to change the diet. They're going to let me know it's a girl, because I know what I heard God say. So here goes the lesson. The lesson is this. It wasn't until months later that I realized that my perception of this dream was completely inaccurate. Well, for the most part. It wasn't about the people I thought it was about. It was about me. They were not having a girl. They actually ended up having another boy. I was the one who ended up having a boy. So the whole girl portion of this dream is actually still yet to be explained to me just yet. But God used that as an opportunity to teach me something. And it was this: it is never about you. It is never about the wisdom of you. It is never about the power of you. It is never about the understanding of you. It is always about God. And anytime we receive a word from God, in order to make sure that we do not color the word of God with our biases and our perceptions, we have to make sure that we are always being reminded that when he is giving us a word, bring it back to him. Bring it back to him, and then patiently wait for the wisdom of God, not ourselves, to reveal to us the truth of a thing. The reason why this is so important is because just because we hear the voice of God, we can sometimes forget that it is him and not us. And we start to believe that I know I hear the voice of God. I hear my language. I hear the voice of God. I know that I understand God. And we start to think it's I. And God's like, "Oh, you must have forgot. It's always me." Okay? All of that being said, I will finish it with this. There are times where we do not realize that our biases hinder us from seeing the fuller message, the fuller picture of the things that God is giving us. And a lot of times we fall into this category again of believing so much more about ourselves than we ought. We love to believe, we all do this. We love to believe that we are just that smart, just that wise, just that bright, right? That, oh, I figured it out. But God is so good at humbling us in the most gentle way, but in a very corrective, very real way, so that we can always remember that we are usable vessels of Christ, okay? And He is doing a work through us. And as long as we are saying that we want to be used by Him, we are doing our best to keep this vessel as clean and as pure and as healed as it needs to be, so that we can be used in the most effective way. And so when we are being used, we just have to always remember that, again, it is not us. When God gives us a word, let's not color it with our biases, with our perceptions, with our hurts, because unfortunately, a lot of times that's what happens when we're giving a word. That is what ends up happening. We end up coloring the word of God with our perception of God, with our biases, with our judgments, with our critiques. And then we start to rationalize what it should be because it's easier or more digestible to us. And it happens so quickly and so smoothly that you don't even detect that you are deceiving yourself. I share this because when someone gives me a word, or when they say God has revealed something to them about me, I listen and I wait. And people have to remember, God says He always, right? When He gives His word, it's always with signs following. You know that it is Him because He confirms His word with signs following. And when I was listening to this person share with me what they believed that God had given them a revelation about me of, I could hear the projection, the perception, the bias that also colored what they said. Point is, God will always confirm His word. And so it is best for us to do our best to stay in alignment and use His word as the measurement and not our biases.